Hello everyone, Joseph Dunphy here, and this is your weekly Grass10 grazing management update on the dairy edge. The PastureBase Ireland data for the week is the average farm cover was 693 kilos of dry matter per hectare. The cover per livestock unit was 189 kilos of dry matter per livestock unit. Growth rates for the last 7 days were 65 kilos of dry matter per hectare. Demand was 57 kilos of dry matter per hectare. Pre-grazing yield dropped a little bit to 1590 kilos of dry matter per hectare, and the diet is staying pretty steady at 15 kilos of grass and 3.5 kilos of meal. Dry matter percentages recorded for the week were 18% in Athenry, County Galway, 17% in Oak Park, County Carlow, and 16% in Moore Park, County Cork. This week's predicted grass growth, rainfall, and soil temperatures. The predicted grass growths are disappointing for this week, with mid to high 60s of a maximum expected on many farms throughout the country. Predicted rainfalls are very, very low, with only 3 to 5 millimetres expected for large parts of the country, and soil temperatures are going to kick back again, back to between 11 and 12 degrees. The Grass10 tips for the week. When we look back to last week, a promising forecast had the growth prediction growing mid-70s to 80 kilos of dry matter for a lot of Irish farms. Unfortunately, this didn't materialise, and cold weather has dropped growth rates back on Irish dairy farms to 65 kilos of dry matter per hectare, which is disappointing for this time of the year. Unfortunately, cooler airflow will continue to dominate for the next 7 days, according to Met Éireann, and cold weather and cutting and topping are not a great mix, and some of these paddocks are struggling to get going at the minute. 40% of farms on PastureBase Ireland have a cover per livestock unit of under 170 kilos of dry matter per cow, with 20% under 150 kilos of dry matter per cow. If you're below 150 kilos of dry matter per cow with the poor forecast and pre-grazing yields start to drop under 1,200 kilos of dry matter per hectare, it's important to hold rotation at 21 days, increase the grazing area, or introduce extra supplement in the form of bale silage until we get a more promising forecast. Average farm cover per livestock unit, and rotation length need to be monitored by walking the farm every 5 days during this spell. Aim for a cover per livestock unit of 170 to 200 kilos of dry matter per livestock unit on dairy farms. Even though some paddocks have poor grass quality, avoid topping until we get out of this cool spell. It's important now to think about the post-emergence management on new reseeds. Many late April reseeds are now approaching the point at which they should be treated with a post-emergence spray around that 6 to 7 week period. A successful post-emergence spray will help to ensure your fresh grass clover reseed gets the best possible chance of a low weed burden. Weeds are best controlled when the grass plant is at the 3-leaf stage and when the trifoliate leaf has appeared on the clover plant. Make sure that you have your clover safe spray in the yard in advance of when you need it, so you can spray the sward when it is ready. For more information on post-sowing management of fresh reseeds, search for the 2024 edition of the Teagasc Clover booklet on Google. Returning P&K to paddocks good for surplus bales. When the paddock is grazed, only 40% of the P and 10% of the K is removed as the animal recycles the nutrients in the dung and the urine. Paddocks cut for silage remove 100% of the P and 100% of the K, and therefore must be returned using chemical fertiliser or organic manure. If surplus bale silage are taken off a paddock these days, return 2,000 gallons of dilute slurry or 1 bag to the acre of 0730 for every 3 to 4 bales per acre to replace offtakes. This week's Grass10 featured farmer is Arthur Sweetman from County Wexford. Arthur's average farm cover is 725 kilos of dry matter per hectare. The cover per livestock unit is 186 kilos of dry matter per livestock unit, and growth on Arthur's farm for the last 7 days was 74 kilos of dry matter per hectare. Cows are milking 26 litres at the minute, fat at 4.2 and protein at 3.6, and the pre-grazing yield is in around 1,500. Similar to what a lot of people throughout the country are experiencing, Arthur noticed that regrowths on grazed or cut paddocks have reduced, and he will not take out any more surplus paddocks until the cover per cow increases to over 200. Approximately 20% of grass paddocks were taken out for surplus bales, These received 2,000 gallons of slurry and 18 units of protected urea post-harvest. Paddocks with high clover content on Arthur's farm have been cut back in nitrogen and therefore receive only soiled water per rotation at the minute. 15 to 20% of Arthur's farm is in clover. And lastly, on this week's Grass10 newsletter, there is a flyer detailing the 6 upcoming farm walks from our 6 winners of the Grassland Farmer of the Year competition. The first one, which is Patrick O'Neill's on the 28th of June at 11 a.m. in Mostram, County Longford. So have a quick look at the flyer in this week's Grass10 newsletter and clear your schedule for an event near you. If you would like to hear more from the Grass10 team, subscribe to the weekly Grass10 newsletter, which is available on the Grass10 page on the Teagasc public website, and the link to the newsletter is also available in the description of this podcast. This has been your Grass10 update, and I'll talk to you all next week.